Hello and welcome back to another episode of Storytime with me, Miss T. But it's not just me, Miss T, here with you tonight. I've got a special guest. I can't see him though. Where is he? He's a little bit shy. Come on. Who is it? It's George. He's so excited to be here. Look how excited he is. You know what? He asked if he could come and join us today because it looks like it could be the last story time before some of us go back to school. Not all of us are going back to school. It's still kind of partly locked down, but I'm coming back and some of you are going back. George is not going back and he's a little bit sad about it. He misses you lots, just like I do. But we're going to take this time to share a story together. It's a special story, and I've worn my special shirt. Look at that. George, can you see? There he is, George. And we brought one of George's books. It's Curious George Goes to a Chocolate Factory. It's not the first Curious George book in the series, but it's a fun one because it's got two of my favorite things, George and chocolate. So shall we dive in? If you got some chocolate, ask mom or dad or whoever's at home, say, can I have some chocolate while I watch some story time? Let's do it. Curious George Goes to a Chocolate Factory by Margaret and H.A. Ray. This is George. George is a good little monkey and always very curious. One day, George went for a drive with his friend, the man in the yellow hat. Look, George, the man said. There's a store in that chocolate factory up ahead. Let's stop for a treat. George loved chocolates. Do you love chocolates? I like dark chocolate. Inside the store, boxes of chocolates were stacked everywhere. But the man with the yellow hat found his favorites right away. George, he said, wait here while I buy these, and please stay out of trouble. George looked around the store. He saw chocolate-covered cherries and fudge-flavored lollipops. A chocolate bunny caught his eye. Then something else caught his eye. What were all those people looking at? George was curious. Let's have a look. There he is, looking at all the sweets. It says tour in progress, please wait. What are all those people looking at? He climbed up to get a better view. Through the window, he saw lots of trays filled with little brown dots. What were all those little brown dots? George was curious. He found a door that led to the other side of the window. The little brown dots were chocolates, of course. A tour guide was showing a group of people how to tell what was inside the chocolates by looking at the swirls at the top. There's the lady showing everybody all about the different kinds of chocolates they've got. This little swirl means fudge. This one says that caramel is inside. And this little wiggle is for marshmallow. This is the squiggle for a truffle. This one is for nougat. This sideways swirl is for orange fluff. And this one is for George's favorite. Can you guess? Banana cream. What's your favorite kind of chocolate? Have you got one? George followed the tour group until they came to a balcony overlooking a room where the chocolates were made. Down below, busy workers picked the candy off the machines and put them into boxes. These were the machines that made the chocolates with the swirls on top. The chocolates came out of the machine on long belts. But how did they get their swirls? George was curious. Can you see him in the window there? Look. Are you curious how the chocolates are made? Should we find out? He climbed down from the balcony and up onto a machine. George peeked inside. He was trying to see what made all of the swirls when all of a sudden the chocolates began coming out faster and faster. They sped by him so quickly they seemed to be running on legs of their own. Can you see what's happened? Look where George's foot was. Uh-oh. Quick, bring more boxes, yelled a man with a tall white hat. What happened? Asked another man. Nobody answered. Nobody knew what had happened, and everyone was so busy that nobody noticed George. The workers began to fall behind, and the candy began to fall off the belt. Save the chocolates, yelled the man with the tall white hat. There he is. Save the chocolates, he's saying. Meanwhile, George saw one of his favorites whiz by. He tried to catch the banana cream chocolate, but it was too fast. He chased it to the end of the belt. At the end of the belt, a pile of chocolates was growing taller and taller. George had never seen so many chocolates. As he searched for the banana cream, he put the others in the empty boxes. George was a fast worker. Doesn't look like it there, but he is. Someone noticed and yelled, "Bring that monkey more boxes! He's helping us catch up!" Not all the chocolates made it into the boxes, but no more chocolates fell on the floor. Just when George and the workers were all caught up, the tour guide ran in with the man with the yellow hat. "Get that monkey out of here!" she yelled. "He's ruining our chocolates!" "But this little monkey saved our chocolates," explained the workers. Here's a picture of all the drama. Ooh, there she is running in, shouting. Then the man with the tall white hat said to George, "You may have caused us some trouble, but you were a speedy little monkey. You deserve a big box of candy for all of your help." George was glad he was not in trouble, weren't you, George? But he did not take the chocolates. Back in the parking lot, the workers waved goodbye as George and his friend got into their little blue car. "George, are you sure you don't want any chocolates before we leave?" asked the man with the yellow hat. "You sure?" George was sure. There he is. He's had enough, hasn't he? Well, what did you think about that book? Did you like it? George, did you enjoy sharing that book with our friends? Did. Should we have a think now about what you could do if you enjoyed that story and you'd like to do a bit more with it? Let's have a think. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to be sure that you understand that word that keeps coming up in the book about our friend George, the word that describes him perfectly. It's that word, curious. Thumbs up if you know what the word curious means. If you're not sure, just pause the video, ask a grown-up, and then come back. Got it? Okay. So curiosity, being curious, is one of the best feelings in the world, I think. Curiosity is something that I love to see in each one of you, and I've seen it. Wonder what you're curious about. You know how I teach RE, right? Religious education, that time where we think about what people believe and why they believe what they believe and what makes them behave or act in certain ways. Well, I teach RE right across the school, right? And several years ago, when my Solomon was in rake school, I was teaching a lesson. The children were in year 4. Solomon is now in year 9. Can you work out how long ago this lesson was? Anyway, I was teaching a lesson where we were all looking at how most religions have rules for us to follow. And of course, some of the rules in the Bible are the rules we use as our golden rules in school. And I challenged that class 4, to come up with their own set of rules. We looked at some different rules, and I said to them, if you were in charge of the world, what would your rules be? And there was a boy in that class called Alex Matura, lovely boy. If you ever see this, Alexander, ciao, hello, buongiorno, lovely to see you. I remember this lesson so well. He, along with everybody in the class, wrote their list of rules. Alex had many rules, but his first rule, his number one rule, was my favorite rule for life ever in the history of ever. And that rule was stay curious. Do you think that's a good rule? Maybe you would like to go and write a list of rules yourself. Would you put staying curious on that list? What are you curious about? Now, I could say, if you'd like to write about being curious, if you'd like to make a list or a lovely drawing about things that you're curious about, you could. You could. If that's what floats your boat, do it. But I think if there's something you're curious about, please, after this video, whether that's today or tomorrow or sometime soon, please go out and explore. Be curious. Find things out just for the sake of finding out and exploring. If you could let me know what you found out, what made you curious, I would love to hear it. But just go and explore. That would be fantastic. Now, of course, there's something else that you could do. There's lots of things you could do, but there's one thing in particular. Oh yes, it's chocolate. If you like this book and you like chocolate, I don't like lots of chocolate, but I love dark chocolate. Look, this chocolate here has got salt in it. Really nice. My friend Kathy and I, we eat this chocolate that comes in a tin, and it looks like mud, and it kind of almost tastes like mud. It's got like no sugar. It's so dark, but it's really yummy. Chocolate. If you're inspired by chocolate, there are so many great projects you could do. You could design your own chocolates. Remember that page where it showed us how different chocolates had different designs? Remember that? You could design your own chocolates. If you wanted to, you could make some chocolates, whether that's really with real ingredients, or Play-Doh or anything else. You could design them, you could label them. You know what would be really cool? You could make prices. You could make your own shop, like the shop that was in the factory that the man in the yellow hat went to. You could make your own chocolate shop. You could come up with some prices. You could have somebody in your family come and visit your chocolate shop and pretend to buy the chocolates. Role play a lovely chocolate shop. That would be fun. Prices. If you have coins, use those. You could design a box for the chocolates. Sorry, had to get some more chocolate. I'm having such a good time with this though that I'm even not watching the Avengers, which is on television, because I'm having such a good time with you and George and the chocolates. So, right. Last option I'm talking about is a box for the chocolates. Can you design it? How will you arrange the chocolates? You might put them into what is called an array. An array is a regular pattern, a way of kind of organizing numbers, or organizing amounts really. So if you think about our 10 frames at school, that array is 2 rows of 5, right? 2 5s make 10. Arrays are organized in rectangles or squares. Squares are regular rectangles, but we'll leave that. Squares are rectangles. Even amounts, not even amounts, but the same amount in each row and each column. Will you do that? That will be an interesting challenge. And will you draw out your design first? How will you measure it? Are you going to be able to make that box for your chocolates? Will you design it? If you do any of those, please, 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 please take a picture and send it to me so I can see it, because I would love to. In the meantime, enjoy chocolate if you've got chocolate, but chocolate does melt, so be careful with it. Enjoy it though. So I'll see some of you on Monday. I'll see the rest of you some other time, I hope. Until then, remember not to talk with your mouth full of food. I'll see you soon. Bye. Say bye, George. Bye, George.